Fine, Victor replied. It's nice to see you. Now get lost, he said angrily. So you're not even going to introduce me to your friend? The man sitting on the trunk said, seeming to still be very calm and relaxed in the moment. Without a care in the world. Fine, Victor replied. He looked over at me for a moment, as if he was about to call me by name, however, thought better of it. This is the Heavy Metal Knight. I don't really know if you've heard of him, but he's somewhat of a superhero, you might call it. I asked him for some help, and he obliged. We're here to take care of some monster slaying, which isn't exactly your territory. But as for the other side of this ridiculous waste of time, introduction that you want so much, Heavy Metal Knight, this is Regiment, a massive pain in my ass that I just can't seem to get rid of. He calls himself a business professional, but really all he is a magic dealer. A very powerful magic dealer, mind you, but a magic dealer nonetheless. He barters with people for things. Things that he wants, or things that you might want. He cuts deals, but don't be fooled. Whatever deal he offers you, he's always getting the better end of it. That's sort of the way he operates. And while sometimes he can be useful, most of the time he's just a pain in my freaking ass. Like right now, for instance. And what did I tell you about sitting on my car? Get off! Ugh. The man, supposedly called Reginald, said, sighing, as he casually slid off of the trunk of the car. Fine. I mean, it's not as if my suit's gonna get your car dirty. You're far too protective. It's just a piece of metal. In fact, I could get you a new one. Even shinier. Without much trouble at all. But I doubt you'd get much use of it once you're dead. And believe me, Victor, if you go in there, that's exactly where you're ending up. Dead. Oh, are you worried about my well-being, Reggie? I gotta be honest, I didn't think you liked me that much, Victor replied snidely, crossing his arms and looking at this guy with a half-hearted smirk. Oh, don't get so worked up, Reginald replied. And of course I care what happens to you. You're a business partner after all. What happens to you affects me. Maybe not emotionally, but definitely financially. Simply, it's just not profitable for me if you die. So I decided I might try to talk you out of this suicidal idea you're having. Oh, how kind of you, Victor replied, rolling his eyes. Don't give me that crap, man. For all I know, you've got to deal with that crazy bitch. To watch her back. Make sure people don't come a-hunting. Just because it's profitable for you, for me not to get killed, doesn't mean there's no other profit in it for you. Don't try to game me, Reggie. I've told you a million times, Victor. It's Reginald. Reginald P. Worthington. Get it right. I do insist. I don't want your friend here picking up on your bad habits. But I do have to say I like the armor. It feels very classic. You rarely see armor these days. I'm afraid it's gone the way of the dinosaurs. But I must say you pull it off quite nicely. Heavy Metal Knight. Thanks, I replied, really unsure what to do in this situation, or even how to respond. Yo, Heavy Metal, it's also a good idea not to trust this guy. Never trust a man who killed the devil. It's just a good idea. And no, that's not a joke. He literally killed the devil. He's another one of those people that exist out there in the world of the dark, in the world of shadow and magic and scary ass shit. There's one of the most famous men alive, Reginald P. Worthington, the man who bested the devil. Whatever you might think of that slick appearance he has, be aware that he's sharp, razor sharp. He could talk Mother Teresa into doing a porn, and make her think the whole thing was just a great idea. Convincing is in his nature. Don't get pulled by it, Victor said, looking over at me seriously. Jeez, I thought you'd have a little bit more faith in me than to just be sold by some guy magically popping up, I replied, a little disappointed in his lack of trust. Once again, you don't know what you're dealing with. I do, so pay attention. Ugh, are you two done arguing yet? Listen, you might be annoyed by my presence here, but as far as you're concerned, I'm your guardian freaking angel, here to pull your ass out of the bonfire. You see, there are things that even you, Victor, and you, my heavy metal friend, don't really comprehend about this world. Everything you see and know, the world that you experience on a regular basis, is an intricate machine. There are countless moving pieces, cogs in this great machine. None of them have to be aware of it. None of them have to know it. None of them even have to understand it. And yet, they all fulfill their purpose in this machine all the same. They're cogs. Cogs turning away, not realizing the effect that they have on the world. Whether slight or great, it's always important. Understanding the great machine is a task, one that most people could hardly imagine. The world is filled with these cogs, little cogs and big cogs, round cogs and square cogs, rough cogs and smooth cogs, all spinning round and round, unbeknownst and unaware of the moving of the great machine. And yet, like any machine, you will always find that some parts are simply more valuable than others. Some cogs can break, bend, wear away, become useless, and simply be easily replaced. And the great machine never knows any different, because it doesn't matter. The cog may have spun, but its effect on the machine was slight. But just as most cogs in the machine serve a purpose, but that purpose too slight to have any real effect, there are also great cogs. Cogs of such importance that should they break, should they bend, should they cease to function, they are next to irreplaceable. The breaking of these cogs creates chaos. Chaos that most could scarcely imagine. And while there is a certain measure of control within chaos, and even a certain amount of order that rises from it, trust me, I once upon a time got a speech on chaos and order that would give you the tingles. But some chaos is simply too extreme. At least for me, that is. Enough chaos in the right place at the right time, and everything goes awry. The great machine sputters wildly, spits fire and ash. Destruction reigns around. Countless cogs break and shatter in different directions. The great machine stops working. And why? Oh, that question why is always so simple and yet so complicated, the man said, walking up to me, very close, tapping me on the helmet with his cane. It's all just because some cogs are simply more important than others. Everyone wants to believe that they have importance in the world, but few rarely do. Few rarely possess the strength necessary to be truly valuable in this world. They're simply too weak, unwilling to do what is necessary, unwilling to fight through the pain and agony that one can, and most often does, experience on the road to greatness, to importance, to true value. And Victor, you are valuable. You have no idea how much value you possess. Your very character, your behavior, your beliefs, your uncanny and almost supernatural ability to surpass expectations at every corner. There are very few people like that in the world, Victor. In fact, you probably just don't realize how much you've helped me. How many of those monsters you've hunted down only came across your radar because I made it happen. I've in fact been throwing an increasingly difficult assortment at you over the years, making it harder as it goes. And yet at every opportunity, you meet the challenge, only growing more powerful on the other side. It's a rare quality, Victor, an almost indispensable one. Even more so because you do it even if you knew it benefited me. Even if I were to show up myself and tell you that it all worked out in my favor because of your character, your beliefs, your ethics, your will, your desire to achieve what you wish to desire, to see happen. You do it anyways. That is inexpensible. I need it, and I can't have it being wasted on an out-and-out suicide mission. You're strong, Victor. You have potential, strength, desire, and many other very uncanny abilities.